Alright, well, now that you've got about the fifth, sixth notification from this channel from a different name, I think I'm probably going to keep this one. So, to start off, I did just kind of upload music to see what kind of traction I would get. But I'm not going to completely stop, but it's going to be on an entirely different channel. It's the same name, TANJ, Tanj, RJ, it's the same name, but I've been kind of in limbo for what I wanted to do for this channel, what I wanted to do for my future of this channel, and I've been wanting to talk about sports for years, man. I mean, specifically the NBA, the NFL, the two sports that I've been most passionate about are football and basketball since like 2018, 2019. So that's what I'm gonna decide to do now. So we're just gonna see where it goes. But if you don't care about me, or you don't care about my content, or about the music, then leave. But getting back on topic, I'm here to talk about Kellen Moore and the future of my team. So we're gonna start with that. Kellen Moore is coming off one of the best Super Bowl performances I've ever seen from an offensive and defensive standpoint that I've ever seen out of a coach that's only been in the league for like 5-6 years. So I think this is a great hire. He's a young coach who has already got a ring to his name. He's going to be the youngest coach in the league, and overall, I feel like it's a great thing as long as they don't give him a short leash. I'm willing to give Kellen about 4 or 5 years to really settle down and get this team where it needs to be if he's willing to do it. Because right now, we're in a rebuild, man. I'm fully aware and ready to admit that we need to go into a rebuild. So, with this Kellen hire, it brings up a lot of questions. Is he capable? Is he going to be a better head coach than he is a coordinator? Is he going to bring people on to assist him in being a head coach, or is he going to just try to wing it on his own? There's a lot of question marks when it comes to Kellen in terms of his ability to coach, but overall, I don't hate this hire at all. And the reason why we couldn't even get another coach is because of our GM. Plain and simply, a lot of the league sources and a lot of people that don't pay attention to this team speak very highly of Mickey Loomis, which is just not the case. Anybody that actually paid attention to the Saints and Saints media and anything revolving around this team would know that Mickey Loomis is one of the most incompetent GMs we have ever seen in my life. Like, he's one of the worst GMs I've seen. In terms of facilitating the team, he's an amazing drafter. He's an amazing, like, him and Sean Payton set this team's future up for a lot of veterans like Demario Davis, Demario Davis, Mark Ingram, Marshawn Lattimore, just a few names. Trey Hendrickson, who's doing amazing on the Bengals now. Like, a lot of great talent they have traded for and drafted that are cornerstones of this team. But I feel like it's been lost, and I feel like the direction that this team is going in is on a steady decline simply because the GM just doesn't want to limit himself. Mickey has shown that he is completely egotistical, and that if he doesn't get his way, it's just not going to happen. Like, when it comes to his speech, when it comes to talking to the media, when it comes to talking about this team, and the consensus is, my word is always right. It doesn't matter. And I know that I'm going to get away with it because I'm not getting fired. That's the energy that comes off of that man most of the time. Every time I hear him speak, that's the energy. He said, look past the results. Well, the results got Dennis Allen fired and us the bottom of the NFC South. So I don't know what else to say about that other than the fact that you can't do your job properly. But I mean, you did manage to get Kellen Moore hired somehow, some way. So I'm assuming he has a little bit of power and a little bit of leniency towards what he wants to do with the future. At least he said he's going to take the QB that he wants into consideration. But the thing is that is very important to the story is Kellen Moore went against Derek Carr in college and absolutely dog-walked him on Boise State. That Boise State team, those Boise State years were absolutely amazing. I wasn't around to watch it, but going back and reading and seeing documentaries of some of the old players that used to play, they were some dogs back in the day. But that's a whole different conversation. But we're kind of set up to really be on the forefront of a rebuild, man. I mean, our whole coaching staff is cleared out. Kubiak's gone. Our defensive coaches, for the most part, are gone. QB coach is gone. Every single one of them, like, he's getting a completely fresh start. He could probably bring some of his staff from the Eagles to the Saints, or whoever he just feels like is going to lead us to victory, he's going to bring to the Saints. So we'll see what happens when it comes to that part of the whole journey. But straight up, I'm going to be very lenient. I won't have high criticism for him this first year because straight up we're in one of the worst situations in terms of cap. Like, he's coming into a bad situation. Like, I can admit that about my team, that he is not coming into the best situation in terms of coaching or head coaching, period. But I'm grateful that he took the job because, honestly, I really have high hopes for him. I'm not going to be heavily critical, but I do have high hopes for him and his team because I'm giving him a 4 or 5 year time span. I think by the 4th or 5th year, we should be top of the NFC South, to be completely real, if everything goes smoothly. I don't expect much coming out of this draft besides some of the cornerstone pieces to this 4 or 5 year rebuild, if we're fully committed to that. But Kellen Moore has a lot of eyes on him, including from the GM and owner, because they honestly, they kept Dennis Allen's garbage coaching for 2.5 seasons and fired him mid-season because Gail had to step in. Gail Benson, just to put it in full context, Gail Benson had to step in and fire Dennis Allen because Mickey Loomis, our GM, didn't even want to fire him. He still, to this day, stood on the fact that he called Dennis Allen a great coach, and he's a good coordinator, and he's going to do great things in Chicago, but in terms of head coaching, he is terrible. He's one of the worst head coaches we've ever had. But that's because they're trying to live off of that Super Bowl. They're trying to live off of that Sean Payton Super Bowl, and it kills me every time. They really tried to stay with that method for as long as possible, and it killed the team. It's time to move on. We won that ring in 2011. I love the Super Bowl. I'm grateful for Drew Brees, and I'm grateful for everybody that contributed to that ring, but it's time to move on. It is 2025. Pete Carmichael needed to go the moment he started declining. That's DC for our team. He needed to go the moment he started declining. Dennis Allen was never built to be head coach. Sean Payton left and sailed the ship before the rebuild even started. All the key cornerstone pieces to that championship are gone. It is okay to move on. None of the players, none of the staff, nobody involved in that 2011 championship is still here. So move on and move forward. It's a new era, and it's time to treat it like it's a new era. Let Kellen Moore lead this team to victory, man. I don't believe that Derek Carr is a great situation for our team either. He's what a lot of people assume is our best player, and that's the fucking problem. This guy decided to do a Superman dive on the Giants on 2nd down and get himself injured. Derek Carr has been one of the worst QBs I've watched in the pocket. He can't scramble. He can barely move. He does good rollouts, but that's all he's good for. He did decent in the Kubiak system. He can't really run that well. We need a quarterback that can actually scramble and move. And so far, the only QB that I've seen shown life of being the QB that is great and envisioned for the future of this league is Spencer Rattler. He came into one of the worst, if not the worst situation in terms of QB play you could ever have. No O-line, no receivers, and barely a running game. He literally was out there throwing the ball to basically nobody but Foster Moreau the entire season. And MVS. MVS was a great sign, and we probably need to bring him back too. Shaheed was hurt. Olave was hurt. We didn't really have a good receiver to pick up the slack. We don't have receiver depth on this team, and that's also something that's killing us. We don't have the situation that is the best suited to build up our future, and it hasn't been that way for a minute. Literally since Drew Brees retired, we have been in a constant state of should we rebuild, should we not rebuild? We have one of the oldest rosters in the league. And the only one that I'm willing to keep is probably Cam Jordan and Demario Davis. They're the only two cornerstone pieces of that defense and veterans that are left that I'd actually want to keep on this team. Period. Like, it's time to stop, man. It's time to stop restructuring contracts. It's time to get younger. It's time to go. We got Alante Taylor and Brian Brzee, one of the two best defenders on our team that we drafted the past 2 years. Like, they showed you that progression. They showed you that you can draft young talent in later rounds or early rounds or later rounds that can be great and impactful to a team. We just need to get younger. It's time to cut these contracts, get our cap situation right, and just start getting younger, man. Give the keys to Spencer Rattler. Derek Carr is not the future of this team. He never has been, and he hasn't been. I don't watch the game through a box score. I watch the game with my eyes. And watching Derek Carr and watching Spencer Rattler, I would rather have Spencer Rattler to start. He put up 1,000 yards with no O-line and no true receiver one. He still managed to throw for 1,000 yards. That is second or it's first in our franchise history. I'll have to confirm that later. It's second or first in our franchise history because we have not drafted a quarterback since Archie Manning. We traded for Drew Brees. We have not drafted a quarterback. He's the first drafted quarterback to get 1,000 yards on our team ever. Like, he's first or second, whatever the stat was. I don't really care. Either way, it's time to get younger. It's time to go full rebuild mode, and it's time to get better overall as an organization, man. You need to lean on your young coach to guide us. Swallow your pride as a GM, Mickey, and let this young coach come in and build a situation that he would be comfortable with leading into a 5-year rebuild. Who knows how long he's going to stay? He might leave before you fire him if you don't give him the keys, man. You have to believe in his ability to coach. You have to believe in his ability to draft. And you have to believe in his ability to judge. You got to believe in his judgment. It's all on you, Mickey, more than anybody. Because Gail clearly doesn't care. She's been sitting back and letting you run the show for literal years. You just gotta, I'm gonna have faith in my team. I'll be watching closely this summer. I'll see what's going on with the combine that goes on with the draft. I'm looking into mock drafts. Some of them are trash, some of them are great. We'll see what happens this season. But I don't even know if I'm cut out for this whole YouTube talking thing, but that's just what I'm just trying my best, man. I'm out.